Dave, let's have a little look. Let's just check the mobilize. I know we've had some questions come in as well. I hope all is well. Let's have a little look. TTIs. Jody is on the comments today.
Jody's on the first. Who's going to be the first to come in with the comments? I don't know really, because it's been shaken up a little bit lately. You know, we're getting. It's not always the same person every time, which is good. Which is good.
It's probably going to be Anthony. Of course it is. There we go.
Yeah.
Fair dues, Anthony. I hope all is well. Yeah, it'd be good to see who else is on the live. So if you're just joining, if you're just tuning in, yeah, drop a comment. Let us know how things are going. And yeah, Dave, I hope you're feeling okay. Dave, it's like you've been on a trek and you're battling something.
Yeah, so we had a lovely trek. Honestly, it was amazing. It actually killed a couple of birds with one stone for me. You know, I love going to Scotland. That's one. Love climbing mountains. That's two. One of my all-time favorite films, Train Spotting. Went to the iconic train station where that scene, the opening scene where the train goes by and then you see them going onto that little bridge. Went there. And also one thing I really, really love to do is introduce like foreign bacteria into my body that then upsets my stomach. And so that's the bit that's happened today, actually, which is really exciting. So yeah, I've had a little bit of foreign bacteria there. Feel a bit rough, but no, it's good.
Mate,
I
hope you get better soon. Hope you get better soon.
It's good, mate.
I feel like we've kind of segued in. I think Jerome there. Hey Jerome, how you doing? Let's put something quite interesting. He's taken Diamox a few times, but never tried speed. And I know we're talking about train spotting, but we're not talking about those type of drugs. But good point though, Jerome. Good point. We should clarify that, right? But yeah, it was an epic trip.
Yeah,
up north.
awesome.
As
it
always,
was really
good to
good.
catch up with the guys as well.
Yeah.
But right, yeah. So today, Dave, I know when we were thinking about what we were talking about, in terms of tracking, we know we've done a lot of equipment stuff lately.
Yeah.
And we wanted to talk about kind of other things that crop up. And I know, you know, sometimes we get people who kind of call in and say, look, you know, I'm not that fit, you know, I'm going to be slow, will I be okay? And, you know, we do communicate and kind of say, look, you know, you do have to have a certain level of fitness and a certain level of speed in terms of the work, you know, you're traveling. But it's not the be all and end all. You don't have to be fast. You can be. I mean, you know, I don't know if anyone read the email that we put out, and we thought we'd come up with some little kind of characters, if you like. And I think characters, Dave, that we've had many different characters on all the hundreds of trips that we run. And some of them, you know, we're all different in our own little way. You know, and some people are quite competitive, you know, we call them the trekking tornado or the mountaineering Maverick. But then there's kind of the other end of the spectrum, which is, you know, the steady striders, the fearless Footslogger we come up with, which I quite like that one.
Yeah.
Or the relentless Rambler. I wonder, Dave, if we were to kind of comment on some of the people who are on the live, who would fall under what bracket?
Okay, so I have a feeling that Bry, he's definitely kind of the Maverick end of the spectrum.
Is he the mountaineering Maverick, is he? Okay.
Yeah, Anuj is on. Namaste, Anuj.
Hey, Anuj, how you doing?
Anuj, I think, having trekked with him a few times.
He's a steady strider.
I'd say he's a steady strider, yeah. Anuj can just chip away at it and keep going.
He is one of those, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean,
what would you
Jerome,
be?
Do you know what? I think I'm more of a... I think probably
Can
more...
I comment?
Yeah, go on. Yeah.
And then you can comment on who I am. I would say you're the fearless Footslogger.
Yeah.
I see you're a battler. Doesn't matter what trek you're on, you just battle through. And I see that. That's what I think you are.
Yeah. I think you... I've got to be honest. I think it's the Maverick again.
Why?
Because many a time, and anybody that's trekked with Andy will know the saying, an Andy shortcut. So if we're on a trek that we've organized for months and we've studied the route really hard, we've looked at fat maps, we've mapped it all out, we've planned everything, we know what we're doing, and then Andy sees a little ridge over there. The plans go out the window, and we're off to the ridge. You know,
that is very true. Actually, that's very true. Yeah. Okay. I'm happy with that. I can be a Mountaineering Maverick.
I would say you've always got your eyes on the horizon, looking for interesting stuff. What's over there? What's that? I want to go down there. What's over there? And fair play, we get ourselves into some pretty good places. You know, following that. So yeah, no, pretty good.
Briar said he's always the tail end Charlie, and I hope that's no other drug reference, Brian. But you're doing well. But yeah, tail end Charlie. And that's a good one to be. I think in terms of the amount of people that we've seen on treks and the ones that stick at the back tend to be the ones that acclimatise better.
Yeah. No, I agree.
You know, go on. Sorry, Dave.
No, I was going to say, and I totally agree. And I actually think if you are, because I know Bry's really fit, I know he's really strong in the mountains, but he's conquered something which a lot of people kind of struggle with, which is when you know you're fit and you know you're fast and you go to altitude and the advice is to go slow and take your time. Lots of people can't reprogram their mind to do that. You know, it's really hard for people who are used to being the fastest, the strongest, and who get their thrill of climbing mountains out of pushing themselves to the limit to then back off from the limit and go really slowly and still get the same level of satisfaction. It's a big mental trick to kind of pull off, and fair play to Boy. I think he's done that.
He has. It is one of the hardest things. I think we've been on trips, Dave, just talking about our own experiences of having trekkers who, you know, we've connected with, been great, but have definitely gone quicker. I think the great Bald Yeti John on his very first trek to Everest Base Camp was fast the first couple of days, and then he soon found out that what that does to you at altitude, especially after getting headaches and starting to feel the altitude a little bit. And then from then on, he was certainly a tail end Charlie. He was certainly at the back, and enjoying himself a bit more. You know, he had to put that competitive kind of part of him in the backpack and kind of just focus on what he was there for, which was to acclimatize well, and to enjoy the trek instead of rushing.
Exactly. I mean, you know, there are people that go to, say, Everest Base Camp, Kilimanjaro, Machu Picchu, whatever, and they go super fast the whole time. They're at the front, they finish early, and they do it, and they get back and they say, what were we worrying about? But enough times I've seen people who are equally as strong as those people rush, altitude sickness gets them for whatever reason, and the trip's done, over. Yeah. And then you think to yourself, oh, you didn't really, I want to tell them, you didn't sign up for a race. You know, this is adventure travel, you know, and you can get the adventure whether you're going fast or slow. It's just being there that's the adventure. It doesn't matter how fast you are, you know? Yeah,
bang on. And, you know, worth giving a shout out to everyone on the live as well. We got Richard. Hey, Rich, how you doing? Nina, obviously we've got Anthony, we've got Stuart, we got Chris, obviously we've got the Anuj, we've got Kate, Bri, George, Lee. Did you use that code for Jotner? Did it work, Dave?
No, he did. Yeah, basically ordered a set of the trousers.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because I need some new trekking trousers. So yeah, ordered the trousers from there. I was gonna go for the jacket, but it was just I was like, do I really want to spend that much? But so I ordered a different jacket, but ordered the trousers. Well happy.
Nice. I'm just going through some of the comments as well. There's some new ones here. I got who is it? We got Nina. I have the zoomies when I'm shopping, but I think I'm steady. Yeah, a steady is the best way. Tail end Charlie, Rich. Yeah, nothing wrong with that, mate. Nothing wrong at all. I'm just looking at who would be who. Jerome's a plodder. Yeah, nothing wrong with that, Jerome. You get there in the end, mate. That's what it's about, isn't it? And
yeah, no, 100%.
I did see another one, which was a really good one. I'm trying to find out which one it is. A steady gasper. See, I like that one.
Steady gasper. That's steady altitude.
That's altitude for you. Well done, Andrew. Yeah, and I think, you know, it's interesting, isn't it? We all kind of identify or have, you know, we've been on trips, and it could be any adventure. It could be the mountains here in the UK or whatever you're watching and tuning in the world. You know, it doesn't matter what you are. If you are someone that is fast, also as well, I think that was part of what we wanted to come at today, is that, you know, there's room in a team and a group for everyone. Certainly, whether you are, you know, and when we labeled it as a steady strider or a summit sprinter or a trekking tactician, someone that's a bit more there's a little bit more strategy in there, because there are times at a mountain, Dave, then we've been on it where you've got to go a bit quicker.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's good to train for that, which means that, if your body is in a good spot and you're tired, the weather's coming in, we want to get to that summit before we descend. You're going to have to go a little bit quicker, even at altitude, which I know is like maybe contradictory to everything we've ever talked about at altitude. But sometimes it's necessary, right?
Sometimes, totally, yeah. I mean, the big one that comes to my mind was when we did Tupkal in winter.
Yeah.
It's a big day that you've got to get done, and obviously you've got to get back to Imlil. So you've got some time constraints. And once you have arrived at the refuge, you're going to the summit and back down again. So you're not going to hang around at that high altitude. So the idea is get there as quickly as you can, as safely as you can, and back down again in plenty of time to sort of, not be stressed out by, the dimming light and stuff like that. And also, there are times on the mountain where you don't want to hang around in a specific point because it could be quite dangerous, it could be quite tricky. And I remember when we were there, we were going along this like narrow ridge area.
Yeah.
And our guide, Ibrahim, was a little bit worried about like rock falls and things like that. So he was like, right, guys, we're going to start this section and we're not going to stop until we get across. And I remember looking at it and thinking like, yeah, okay, I can do that. And I forgot I was at nearly 4,000 meters. So by the time I got halfway, across, I was like, like the lungs were burning. But that's where I think the training comes into it. Train hard, trek easy, and having that strength and that fitness to be able to deploy it in those scenarios really makes a big difference, I think. But yeah, certainly there are times where we've had to seriously get a move on.
Yeah, it's I've written that one down. Train hard, trek easy. That's that seems like it belongs on a t-shirt, Dave.
Yeah, no, I think it's train hard, trek easy. It's good.
Yeah, I like it. Hey Andrea, hope all is well. Hey Ray, hey Mike, always good to see EverTrekkers on the live. Bry said it doesn't matter how fast or slow you are. My advice would be to do all the voluntary acclimatization walks in the afternoon, especially Killy. Yeah, it's a good shout actually, and sometimes not always possible, but yeah, on trips like Killy where you do get, you do most of your walking in the mornings and you're kind of done by lunchtime sometimes, especially when you're on, the Shira Plateau, or you get to the Barranco camp. There will be times that you can walk around and go and actually, which is good for acclimatization. Same on, in Nepal, Machu Picchu, wherever you are, you're going to have some spare time where, you're on your own or you've got some time to yourself. And it is a good opportunity to whether explore the village that you're staying at, not just the tea house, or explore the camp, go for a walk somewhere else. Sorry, Dave.
That's all right, mate. That's all right. Get it
in the throat. This is clearly need to walk faster. and most of the time, that will assist in the kind of long run when you're at high altitude. 100%.
No, I agree. And I think one of the other things as well that I often think about is about those little acclimatization walks. One thing I always see it in Nepal is when people reach Namche. Often it's the first time they've been over 3,000 meters. It's also that point where you're gonna I've never seen someone get like altitude sickness before Namche. I mean, some people say they can feel the altitude, and I'm sure that's true.
Yeah.
But in terms of altitude sickness, Namche is like this kind of like benchmark. And one thing I found is that, my first ever guy told me about active rest. Sometimes when you're at altitude and you need your body to adjust to something, lying in bed doesn't actually do you any good.
That's you want to,
because, we can all probably arrive at altitude and then stay perfectly motionless and not expend any energy and kind of get by. But the body needs to adjust to move at altitude. And so I think keeping a normal routine is really good. And, one of our favorite things at Namche was, we do it, and don't we? As soon as we get there, it's like, right, what do you want, Dave? Shower, have a look around the shops. So like, as soon as we get there,
straight out the door.
Yeah, as soon as we get there, it's like Namche's a good point.
Cup of tea.
Yeah. Cup of tea, you like coffee with milk or milk with coffee, or lemon ginger honey, or ginger honey lemon. Yeah.
Any one of those. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And one of the big things I think you mentioned there was before you get to Barranco camp, you've got that big day. I can't remember the camp name before it, but the next day you go to Lava Tower, then down to Barranco. So
Shearer
I think
too.
Shearer too.
Shearer too, yeah.
There's a lot of people when they get there and the guides say, okay, we're going to go up, walk up that hill for a bit. And you're like, oh, I can't be bothered. Really do it, isn't it? And like push yourself to get out there and do it. Be a fearless, what's the one hand? Fearless?
Footslogger.
Be a fearless footslogger, you know, and then just, you know, point your nose at the top of the hill, walk there, turn around, go back and just be like, yes, bagged it, you know?
It is interesting, isn't it? Yeah, you can all, I mean, I think having these characters, you know, if we had the steady strider, you know, we had the Mountaineer and Maverick, we had the fearless footslogger, we had the tail end Charlie, because I think that's definitely, going in. I'm adding that in. I love that. Tail end Charlie is, it sounds like tail end of a storm called Charlie. That's how I kind of read it until I realized, oh, actually, tail end Charlie. I like that. So well done. Well done, Bri. It's interesting that you can be all of those at specific times. You know, you can step into the proverbial shoes of, you know, a kind of trekking tornado and go for it if you need to. Although, as Ray said there, you know, if you're going up a steep hill, it doesn't matter who you are. You're going to need a rest. Certainly after Namche Hill, those couple of hours uphill before you get a Namche, because it's the first real steep ascent. You know, and I know you're going through the forest and the zigzags and you stop, you know, have a few stops on the way. It's still tiring, that one, you know, a couple of hours uphill is tough. It's definitely a toughie. And Nina, I'm gonna jump in with Nina's questions actually, because I thought it was obviously relevant. Any advice on asthmatics? My speed depends also on walking a certain pace. Interesting to find out how the thin air affects me. So so Nina, with asthmatics, I'm an asthmatic myself. It's not been great over the last couple of years, unfortunately, but it's managed. And I think when we've done all lives on asthmatics, on trekking at altitude with asthma, and essentially when you're at high altitude, it isn't really that different. How you manage it at sea level is how you manage it on a trek. So as long as you've got your medication, you've got your backups just in case you're struggling a little bit. Depending if you're on like the blue inhaler or you're taking any steroids or anything else that kind of assists you, as long as you've got that at altitude, you'll be fine. And everyone's different. Some asthmatics more severe than others. Also, there's different triggers, whether it's the cold, whether it's allergies, whether it's dust. Whatever it is, there's generally things you can put in place to kind of help you when you're on a trek. For me, it's I wear a buff if there's dusty environment. The cold's not really a trigger. It has been years ago. For me now, it's more like allergies and things like that, and just keeping on top of my meds. And then it doesn't really become a problem. So just to kind of give you a little bit of confidence around asthmatics, we've had many EverTrekkers who are asthmatics on a trek, and especially myself. I've trekked to Everest Base Camp 5 times. I've been to Kilimanjaro, Machu Picchu, Tupcal, a lot of our trips. And I would say, hand on heart, asthma didn't come into it once. It does on a daily basis, taking the recycling out, going for a run, it's crazy. Walking the dog, it happens more here in the UK. When I'm on a trek, I seem to be fine, but I think it's because mentally, you're kind of in the zone. But one thing I would say is that, just like sea level or hiking in the UK, if you've got to slow down because you're feeling a bit out of breath and you've got to stop, do the same altitude. Just take it slow. Just enjoy yourself. And just know that, when it comes to your asthma, it's no different in altitudes. Manage the same. So hopefully that gives you a bit of mental confidence when you go in there.
Yeah, and a new trip being launched soon. Taking the recycling out. That's going to be that's our new.
Needs an itinerary.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It's one of the joys of adult life, huh? But you're helping the environment. You're doing what you can, even if that's just to the garden path, dropping the bags out there for the recycling. That's good itinerary, that, Dave.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I agree. I think one thing as well. Like I think I'm lucky not to have suffered with asthma, but I think I've trekked enough with you that I think what really helps is start at a slow pace and finish strong. Like if you start at a relentless pace sometimes and you don't give your body and your lungs time to adapt to the demand, then maybe it's hard, you know, to kind of like then keep things calm and keep things on keep things going. But like, so on the weekend, we started off walking up there, and you were like taking it nice, and you were like a steady strider at the beginning. You know, just starting at a pace that you knew you could maintain right to the end. And then once you realized, you know, your lungs are okay, you're functioning, then you can like step it up a bit, step it up a bit. So yeah, no, it's really it's interesting to see like how you have to adapt to certain things, you know.
Yeah, just change it up, and I think, you know, everyone's different, you know, when it comes to their body, and there's not just asthma, there's other things that you've got to manage. And I think you're right, Dave, in terms of speed and things like that. You can change that up depending on how your body is feeling. Like Andrew's put there, you know, my legs are my slowest members. It's yeah, Andrew, exactly. That can happen. Even Dave, you've gone dark on us.
Oh, sorry. So I've realized one thing then, that when I move off this to go and check the questions,
it goes dark.
It might go dark, yeah.
That's all right. At least we know. I thought the lights went out. I'm thinking, all right, he's gone.
No. Yeah, no, it's all good. So yeah. So I thought I could do it sneakily, and then all you see is me going. But actually, yeah, it's for when I have to check the questions.
Yeah, just while I jump in as well, I know touching on the asthmatic stuff. I think Jerome asked the question there, and I think Nina is wondering as well. Are inhalers effective at altitude? Yeah, they've always been for me. If I've ever, I could probably count on these two hands how many times I've used them. But I remember doing a lot of research before I first went to altitude, because one of the reasons I wanted to go to Nepal was to see if I'd be okay, if I could deal with it. And once I realized I'm actually pretty good at altitude, it's not relevant to my lungs, just about climatization. It's the same, you know, how you manage it. Then it gave me a lot of confidence. But yeah, you can use inhalers in the cold, and you can use them at altitude. They don't, even though they're pressurized, they don't work any different. I've noticed anyway. Obviously, if anyone has any difference, definitely. You know, it's really the same kind of process. So yeah, Nina, just give you a little bit of confidence on that. The inhalers do work and function the same. Again, I've never had any issues.
Yeah, and again, you know, you'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. So just take it anyway.
Yeah, 100%. No, do it. Like even now, I've actually got two on me here. There we go, two backups. Not saying I'm needing it, but I brought it with me. They shouldn't have two in my pocket. One should be in there. But yeah, if one has got to be with you at all times, use it. But Richard makes a good point as well, and I think something that yeah, we're definitely a big supporter of in terms of breathing techniques, cold water therapy. Obviously, if you're asthmatic, check regarding the cold, because it can be a trigger. But yeah, Wim Hof and that kind of you know, those breathing techniques that a lot of people are into these days. Even the running Yeti out there. There we are. Jody reading Wim Hof's book at the moment. Love it. Yeah, there's so many, and there's medically proven benefits to cold water therapy, and you know, to breathing techniques, which can help you, whether you're going fast or whether you're going slow. And even this weekend, I went for a 10-minute swim in the lock. You know, after coming down after a hike, and it's good for the muscles. It's good for the mind. Makes you focus. It's cold. There's no getting around that. But yeah, it's good for you. Good for you, a little bit of shock.
I did a similar things, but instead of going in the lock, I sat in the lodge and had a pot noodle.
Okay, so they helped you mentally, right?
Yeah. No. The difference. But yeah, no. Honestly, brilliant. I'm very interested in that, like Wim Hof sort of stuff. I'd be interested to know, you know, what a difference that actually makes in normal trekking, because I know it's like you practice it in cold water and stuff like that. Maybe I should just read the book to find out how that translates into a breathing technique. Like if I'm struggling on the top of Namche, do I need to go find a pool, like jump in? But yeah, no, really interested. Awesome. I'm just gonna literally just check it.
Yeah, whilst you're doing that, Dave, Andrea makes a good point, because you asked about, you know, what is the difference and what changes does that affect, whilst Dave turns back on the lights in a minute. So Andrea, you've put in kind of helped me too, mainly before falling asleep. At first, I woke up a few times with lack of breathing, oxygen, almost like panic attacks. Yeah, it can be quite scary. After I started the Wim Hof breathing before sleep, it got a lot better throughout the night. And yeah, certainly. So at altitude, one of the things that is your body in its way to protect you, it kind of almost wakes you up. I've had it certainly above 5,000 meters. It's quite common because your body's adjusting to how much oxygen it's taking in. And, as we go to sleep and as our heart rates become lower, clearly that transfer of oxygen around the body is different. And the body, as a self-defense mechanism, is trying to save you. It wakes you up. Dave, we were talking about over the weekend when you were drifting off in the car on the way up and down.
I don't know. I seem to, it's weird. Altitude doesn't happen.
It's weird. Yeah, it doesn't, does it?
When I have no problems breathing at altitude, when I'm in bed, totally fine. You put me in a car or a train, and as soon as I go to fall asleep, I jump up and
it's like you're surprised where you are. It's quite funny.
It drives me mad. Yeah, so I think I'm going to start taking Diamox for long journeys. Back in even at sea level.
Brilliant, Dave. Brilliant.
Yeah, but no, Diamox is a good thing. It is a really, really big help. I've seen it turn people from thinking about calling the chopper brigade to waking up and being like, yeah, fine, I can do this. Let's crack on.
Yeah,
but that's probably a whole live on Diamox. There is a blog about Diamox. So if our Jode wants to find that in the area and post it, if people want to educate themselves and learn a little bit about it, then that would be that'd be awesome.
I think Stuart's mentioned there. I think Jody could come on and do a book review along with pre-climbing training. It'd be good actually because Jody is off to do Kili in October with Zach, right?
Yeah, Kilimanjaro. Her first time at altitude, really.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, she's normally just like running about. I think she just runs about. That's what Jody does. Like
we'll have to, if she's the trekking tornado, then we'll have to kind of slow her down a little bit.
Yeah, that's it. Well, I heard there's a rumor that if you if whoever's right at the back, if you give them a bottle of white, she'll hang around that person. She'll make she won't want to miss out on that, so she'll hang around around where that is. So that's the method, I think.
I can hear Jody laughing.
Yeah,
brilliant.
So that's it.
It is funny, isn't it? Of certain things like that. But going back to, I just want to finish off with saying about Andrea, for talking about the kind of sleep stuff that happens, and it'd be interesting regarding the Wim Hof stuff and the breathing techniques to see, what the differences are. Obviously, Andrea worked for you, which is awesome, and glad that helped because, it can be a little bit scary. But well done on that, mate. It's obviously achieving Everest Base Camp, which is absolutely fantastic. And I suppose then, Dave, whilst we're on that subject of Base Camp, it's literally season's come to an end now, isn't it? We've had our last groups come down.
Yes.
It's what a season it's been.
Spring season's done, that's it. A few more grey hairs, but overall, really happy and successful.
Been fantastic.
Even though we run trips pretty much year round now, I feel like that my body clock will never not be attuned to the two Nepal seasons. So spring and autumn.
It's our biggest one, right?
Yeah, exactly. But really amazing. We've had Island Peak summits, Mera Peak summits.
Yeah.
The 3 passes, Gokyo, countless Kalapatar pictures, Annapurna. It's been it's been absolutely amazing. Really, really, really good, strong season, and one where in spring the weather's thrown us a few curveballs as well. We've had a couple of look. It's always the case. The mountain gods decide to throw a bit of weather at us to see how resilient we are, and we just got to rise to the challenge. Look that weather in the eye and say, "Not today, my friend. Base camp's the goal." So it's been really good, really, really good. And now we start our our summer season, which we're looking at Tupkal and Kilimanjaro, Machu Picchu. So still
Ecuador,
still
Summits of Fire. We got a lot going on in South America. Yeah, it's fantastic. Jerome, we don't hibernate between seasons anymore, unfortunately. But it's all good. We're really excited to be as part of the journey with us now. We don't want to hibernate. We'll do that down the line.
Yeah, exactly.
The forever hibernation.
maybe a long time ago, you know, maybe we used to have a little bit of hibernation, but now we've adapted to our changing climate, and now now we're high energy bears, you know. We
Is that
just
what it is? Is that what it is?
yeah,
Nice.
exactly. Yeah, we're just constant all year round. Evergreen Yetis or something like that, you know.
Evergreen Yetis. I'm trying to scroll down because all I can see is if anyone got the email, there's a little GIF of Groot just dancing, and it's taking my eye off because I can see this Groot just dancing, which
Yeah.
is always quite
Well,
entertaining.
I'm not gonna lie. I've got a screen below where I am now, and all I can see is him, like
is,
like going
is
like
that
that.
what it is?
That's
Anthony's a
it.
good
Yeah.
point. If it ain't raining, it ain't training. I like it.
Yeah.
It certainly helps, doesn't it? And I think, you know, we've been out. I mean, even in Scotland this weekend, it was typical because we went all the way to Scotland, and I know this is typically you know, Scottish weather. We did have some you know, a little bit of rain, whereas I heard down south here it was absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
It's rare that we get sunshine in Wales, so yeah, we typically missed it, but we're kind of enjoying it this week.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're certainly right there, Anthony. A little bit of rain doesn't hurt at all, and actually it was quite nice, wasn't it, Dave? After
Yeah. No.
what was it, 13 miles I think we did, and a couple of Munros, it was cooled us down a little bit.
Yeah. No. It was nice. Yeah. I mean, I'm never that happy to see rain, if I'm honest, but I was because I bought a new jacket and I wanted to kind of test it out. But
Ooh, what jacket did you get?
it was the Rab. Oh, here we go. Because it's new, I can't remember, but it's a Gore-Tex Pro Rab. I think it's called the Kangri or something like that.
That's it. It's the Rab. Was it? Yeah, stock Kangri, isn't it? Kangri
yeah, something like that. Yeah, but it's they do two of them.
Right.
They do two Kangris, and this is they do a lighter one and then a Gore-Tex Pro one. And I got the Gore-Tex Pro one because yeah, I'm going to use it for kind of alpine, Nepal, Kili. It's got to fit a lot of stuff. So yeah, no, it's a really good jacket. Really, really good jacket. Really.
So I'm waiting for a some sort of review now, so we get, because I remember you weren't they weren't that hard to follow because it was quite noisy.
Yeah, no, it's the noisiest jacket that I've ever used. So like when you're wearing it, it is it's mad. Like it's like, but
I know. I was thinking you're easy. Honestly, be great in the dark. I wouldn't lose you.
Exactly. I tell you what, though, the reason why I like for me personally, the reason why I tend to buy the more expensive Gore-Tex jackets is because it's the breathability that you get. You know, absolutely amazing. And this one, like, I run hot. Like, you know, you saw me on top of the mountain, like, trying to cool
almost
down.
naked. Yeah.
Well, you got to cool down, man. You got to cool down. You know, and then you know, put a dry base layer on. But that jacket was amazing. Like, seriously, it was like really good in terms of like the breathability. Normally, I have to take them off straight away as soon as I start going uphill. That one, bit of pit zips, bump, bump, happy days. It's good.
Go poaching in your new jacket, Dave. Yeah.
Honestly, mate.
Careful on that, Dave.
I didn't see any wildlife. You know, we were in like a deer reservation. Not one showed up.
True, actually. Yeah. Well, we certainly, venison was on the menu pretty much everywhere we went, which was the one place in that remote area. The Karua station. It was what's it called again? The
I think it's just called the Karua Station House or something. The Karua Station House, I think. Yeah, no,
I recommend it.
Oh, do you know what? It's absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved that whole weekend. I mean, it was great just to kind of get there, and I don't know why, but when I arrive at a place that I've seen on a movie, it's like quite exciting. You know, I don't know why.
I agree.
I get that feeling. I'm like, you feel like you know the place before you've got there. It's weird. It's like you're experiencing deja vu, but it's the first time you visited the place. It's a strange feeling. I love it. But
there's something about it, isn't it? I think certainly for me, you know, looking at the mountains, I think when I first went to Everest Base Camp, reading the books and watching some of the movies, the documentaries, and then you're there, and that same feeling comes up with your kind of the history of the place and kind of all the stories that you've read, the danger, you know, it kind of, it's weird. It kind of gives you that buzz in the center of your stomach, and it's quite exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I love it. I mean, that's one of the things that I do love about trekking.
Yeah.
And this type of trekking could change my trekking tag, because if I get too excited, then I might become like a tornado or something. But it's like when you add like a purpose to the trek.
Yeah.
I don't know, it like magnifies it for me. I think it's why Machu Picchu is so special, because the purpose is to go and see this like ancient civilization. When you and Billy first went up to Brecon to find the downed Canadian bomber, and we knew roughly where it was, so we all had to like spread out to look for it. It was amazing.
We knew where it was eventually.
Yeah, and like, and I think it's the weather in that part. You know, I remember one time when we were
zero viz, wasn't it? Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
that was a great day out there.
Yeah, and then you know when I first went to base camp, it was like,
I
don't know, seeing Everest for the first time in the flesh was like, I don't know, it was amazing. It was like I've seen it so many times, but for some reason, like that's why I love these adventure travel trips and why I couldn't just live doing my local mountains every day. Nothing wrong with it, but you do get something else when you like combine it with like a mission or like a feeling or a goal or something. Yeah, it's amazing.
And it's interesting, isn't it? You've hit on a good point there, because I think sometimes you can go out with no real reason except just to go out, which is nice, you know. And there's times for that. I've done it. I'll just go for a walk and see where you end up. But sometimes it's quite cool, isn't it, to have a challenge or a destination or a reason for doing something. Like if there's I know you've got like the West Highland Way. I've not done it myself. I've done sections of it. But again, because the history of the West Highland Way is quite cool, or you're thinking of a particular reason to go somewhere. You mentioned there the Wellington bomber in the Banai Bracaniog in the Brecon Beacons, and it certainly gives you a purpose. If you can mix that in with your training, it kind of just jazzes it up a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah. No, yeah, I love it. I mean, it also gives you a reason to get out. You know, like if I was to leave my house and do all my training on Penavan, just up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, you'd soon get bored of it. You know, so adding in like little, like each big challenge can be broken down into lots of little challenges. So I want to do Everest Base Camp. How do I get there? Well, I'm going to start by doing this 10K run. I'm going to start by going to this landmark, or I'm going to trek to this point, or I'm going to do this trekking challenge. And then before you know it, like you're already fit enough and all you've done is enjoy yourself.
Yeah, so exactly. It's a good point. And part of the research as well is that, you know, something I always found that I kind of made the journey a bit more special is just part of the research with it, getting the map out, getting maybe some of the books or reference books I've used before about specific areas, and reading about the history and learning about it. I think before I went to Machu Picchu, and you know, I read a little bit about it and went out there with a little bit of knowledge, obviously not all of it because there's so much going on, and it's kind of nice to hear that off the guides and you know, and when you're in Cusco, about the history of what happened, and some of it's quite brutal actually. And you kind of realize, wow, you know, this is it's quite heavy how it worked, and especially with colonialism and how it worked over there, was pretty brutal. But anyway, it kind of magnifies the enjoyment, I think, of the place, because you get to hear, like my guide was, you know, and ancestrally, you know, in terms of his ancestors were part of the kind of old tribe that used to live in that region, which is quite cool. And some of the stories he was telling was around that, and I thought that just magnifies it so much more. You know, certainly around the kind of stories and things. So I think you're right, Dave. Yeah, having a purpose, even if you can research that before. Like before, I used to go. I used to be quite into my wreck diving. I used to research the wreck. I used to draw the wreck, how I, you know, like an outline, so I could plan my dive through those wrecks. But reading about it and finding out what happened, how it was sunk, where it sailed, you know, who died on it, you know, all that stuff. It made me look for things when I was in there, when I was in the wreck, and I could, you know, find different things. And it certainly gives you kind of a bit more of a purpose and a reason. It makes it more exciting, I think.
Yeah. No, I agree, 100%. Like Christopher Clifford Hurst there. Follow
I'm
David's
just reading
advice. That. Is that my advice? Dave Remington's advice?
3 years ago. Wow, Dave, you did 3 years ago.
I don't know. I used to advise people to train with like bottles of water in a weighted rucksack, because one, like each, you know what, a liter of water is a kilo. And also very easy. Like one of the reasons why I used to like, well, I still recommend that process is because you can always add more on as you lose your weight, but also if you have an off day, you can just pour the water away or drink it. You know,
true,
where if you fill your rucksack with sand, there's not a lot you can do about that. You've got to lug that stuff back, unless it turns to ice, like on Tupcal. I carried 3 kilos of ice to the summit and back down again. That's awesome, Dave. I'm really excited to hear that. Like 3 years ago. Wow, amazing.
Yeah, it was Chris, wasn't it? It was followed Dave's advice 3 years ago. Yeah, and it works. 18 kilos, 5 walks a week. Fair dues, Chris. You're going to be a steady strider. So well done, mate. Looking forward to I bet EBC in October. It's about time, isn't it? It's taken a while to come around, but you're gonna enjoy it.
Mate, he's been training for 3 years straight, mate. He's gonna just like get to EBC and he's gonna be like, right, camp 1, camp 2, happy days.
I know. Imagine
awesome,
that.
Chris.
Great,
loving that.
Andrea, are you PADI qualified? Yes, I am. I used to teach scuba diving, so I used to be a PADI instructor a long time ago now, and I used to teach rescue diving and dive master, all that stuff. Excuse me. Back in the day, different world. Obviously, it's the mountains, but still just as beautiful. I do love the sea. BZAC. A lot of friends who are BZAC instructors. Mike, BZAC's great. I know PADI's obviously the world famous one, but Professional Association of Diving Instructors. Well, it's been a while, but the diving world is fantastic. And again, it's transferable skills. The planning and certainly for scuba diving, there's a little bit of maths involved, and sometimes you can use that kind of thinking in the mountains as well, and the same processes, especially around safety. In the diving world, safety is like it's so key. You have to be, and the same in the mountains. You've got to bring that safety into it, and we're talking about on this live today, we're talking about pace and going slow, and being a steady strider, or if you're a Mountaineer Maverick, which Dave says I am, it's okay. You can go slow, you can go fast. It's knowing when to do those things, which will help you. Definitely. Awesome. We had a couple of questions in the WhatsApp group, Dave. I think I'll bring them up because you'll go dark on us because they're around Killy.
Nice.
Lauren has asked it. She hasn't put who they're from, but I take it these must have come in by email. Killy questions. What time do you typically get back to Springlands after the trek?
Sort of early to mid-afternoon. I mean, late morning even. So you'll set off pretty early in the morning. Maybe you'll start trekking by about half eight.
Yeah.
And it's not that far. It's about, I think, a 10K walk. But it's all downhill, pretty steady. And I think the last 5K is kind of almost on like paved ground because you kind of get to one of the roads that lead to the gate. I think we were home by about midday. I think 12 we were home by. It depends on the speed of the group, but definitely you're going to be back by the afternoon, 100% guaranteed, no matter how slow you go.
There's definitely some hydration time when you get down. If that's your bag,
That's one bit of advice, because you don't really need any cash on the mountain at all, but bring some with you anyway, because when you get down to the gate, there's like a shop there, a bar that sells like Coca-Cola and beers. And I'll be honest, it was the best bottle of Kilimanjaro beer I'd ever had in my life. It was amazing. True, but I didn't have any cash, so I walked up to the bar and I was like, "Kilimanjaro beer, please." And they were like, "Thank you." And I was like, "Help!"
I did hear that help. We kind of worked it out, didn't we, Dave?
Yeah, exactly. But you'll end up back by late morning, early afternoon.
Great stuff. Someone's around Springlands again. Just looking at it now. Do you know how long the laundry turnaround is at Springlands? I'm not sure I've had laundry done there. I know some EverTrekkers have. It's pretty quick, within a day. Yeah,
if it's not the same day, it'll be the next day, guaranteed.
Yeah.
But one thing that I use to get me by with my trekking stuff. So generally, I wash my trekking stuff when I get back home. But if there's a t-shirt I want to wear or something, maybe Jody can put a link to this. It's called like Wash to Go or something like that. It's like a spray wash.
Okay. Nice.
So what you do, you spray your clothes with it and then hang them up, and then the next morning they smell absolutely amazing. So and they're kind of clean, and it's really good.
Interesting. Is it washing? I'm literally just Googled it now.
It's like a spray bottle on Amazon. It was actually our very own Mick Hamilton that showed it to me on a training weekend.
Good old Mick. I hope he's all well. Haven't seen him for a while. Nobody's out and about in Wales lately.
I'm going to have a look at what it's called. I mean, Ed, if you want to get another question up, and
sure.
I'll find this.
Well, Bri mentioned their laundry is a same-day service. Yeah, Bri, clearly Bri's had some there. I think it was because whoever asked that question were going for the safari early the next day. So I suppose they wanted to, what time they're coming down and will it be ready for the next day? I'm sure typically, and this can happen anywhere in the world, but it's just a matter of money and it might cost a little bit more to get it ready quicker. I'm sure they'll be able to do that. Just in terms of getting laundry in certain parts of the world, it never is. It is a little bit different to how you do it back home. And obviously, it means they're going to be clean, but just sometimes I've had T-shirts come back and they're a little bit smaller for me. I'm not, you're meant to lose weight on a trek, and I'm like, oh, it's a bit tight. So certainly, if it's going to be dried quicker, just be prepared that some of the clothes might be different sizes.
Yeah, I believe it's called Day 2 dry wash spray. And you just kind of, and they do different variants and stuff like that. So you can you can spray your clothes with it. It's really good. I've used it on Day to Dry, maybe something like that. Yeah, it's something like that.
Fantastic. Well, look, Josh has brought in as well. Myself and a friend have started a journey to reach as many summits as we can. Awesome. That's again a reason to get out there. Both bus drivers, so we don't want to suffer the health problems that could come from that sort of industry. Plan on booking Tupcal, EBC, and Killy. Well, Josh, definitely drop us a message. We'd love to help you and your friends sort that journey out and get those in the diary. You're in the right place. A lot of our EverTrekkers here have done those trips. I just I can see the comments from Brian and Jerome and things like Mike, Kate, Dave, Rimington, Chris. Going through all of our Andrea. Some of them have done EBC, Killy, some of them have done Tupcal. They're all awesome trips. Drop us a message if you had a kind of plan on what you'd like to do first. Talking about difficulty, EBC, Tupcal or Killy. I'd say the Killy Summit is probably the hardest summit day out of all those trips. That being said, some people do find Everest Base Camp a little bit more challenging just because of the location. And Tupcal shouldn't be underestimated. Even if it's going on the weekend with us, we do have an 8-day version. Still bloody hard, Dave, isn't it?
I would say the 4 days harder than the 8, I reckon.
Yeah.
I mean, Tupcal is not to be underestimated whatsoever. It can be a very, very tough and demanding day to get up and down that bad boy. An amazing experience. I've done it 1.5 times. And absolutely fantastic. But you're right about Killy. It's really hard when people ask us like, what's the hardest trip or what's the best? What do you what's the difference between base camp and Killy in terms of difficulty? It's really hard to say because every person is slightly different when they go on each trip. So it's a very personal experience. But there's absolutely no denying that Summit Night on Kilimanjaro is not an easy day by anyone's stretch. I don't think. Maybe if you're some sort of crazy elite like Killian Jornet or something like that, but anyone else is going to have a beast of a day.
Nice. It's quite funny there, Dave. Your audio was coming in. Your visuals was about a second behind your audio then. So I was like, it's like one of those old school movies.
No, don't worry about it. It's all good. Yeah, no, it's all good. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
Wow, that is weird. All right, well, we got a little bit of time left. Just looking at this, has anyone been to Patala Palace? Asking Kate, thinking about historical places. Number one, love to visit. Yeah, it's in Tibet, isn't it, Kate?
Yeah,
I've heard about that. I know one of my cousins has actually been there and says it's fantastic. We don't have any treks over there just yet. Tibet is definitely harder to get permits and harder to get visas. It's definitely challenging, not impossible, but it hopefully will become easier over the next couple of years. We'll be able to do some trips over there. Obviously, Nepal is our kind of in that area is kind of where we do majority of our trips in the Himalayas. Obviously, K2 and Pakistan aside. Dave Rimington, any news on Amadablam coming online, Dave?
No news as of yet. It's definitely on the radar, and it's something that we'd love to do.
Yeah.
But it's one of those mountains that's very, very popular, but also not to be underestimated. You know, it's quite technical.
Very
There's
technical, yeah.
you know, I remember when I think it was Hillary when he first saw it deemed it unclimbable.
Really?
But obviously now I believe so. I know I'm going to get fact checked on that, but I would say that it was deemed unclimbable when it was first seen.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's mainly the last third. No, 100%. We you know, we will venture into the, you know, that type of arena, you know, which is, you know, expeditions, if you like, to the big peaks. But it's just about doing it at the right time with the right team and the right expertise. So yeah, stay tuned. It's not going to happen next week, but at some point, I'm sure it's going to be on the roster.
Yeah, definitely. We've got a lot of new trips coming over the next kind of 6 months. You know, we've raised some investment at the beginning of the year, which is fantastic. And we're looking to, you know, get some trips off the ground because, you know, there's certain things that we do to put these trips together and make them good as well. Well, excuse me, we don't want to just kind of release these trips without a little bit of, you know, research and development that goes into it. Behind the scenes, it's always something we're keen to do, so it's a proper EverTrek trip. Ama de Blam is getting a lot popular now. There are some challenges on it at the moment. Certainly, climate change is having this effect. A big part of Ama de Blam came off a couple of weeks ago, caused a big avalanche, which, you know, it will continue to happen. So we've got to, you know, we've got to weigh up those things, you know, in terms of safety and managing those. The kind of danger ratios in terms of people we send out and how many we have with guides. Certainly, we've got guides that have climbed Ama de Blam and guided on there historically, and not with EverTrek, you know, with another company. And yeah, there is certainly possible. And you know, we if we had to, we could probably put like a private thing together, but it's going to be something that needs a bit of work, I'd say. Yeah, it's I thought Ama de Blam climbing was prohibited.
No, that's Mount Fishtail, or
you're thinking of Kailash.
Yeah, Mount Kailash and Fishtail, both sacred to the.
Sacred
I think
mountains.
Kailash is the sacred mountain. You know, that's really like central to the Hindu religion, and then Mount Fishtail is sacred as well. So no one's ever summited it. But one thing we should probably mention as well is the we've got a couple of training weekends coming up as well.
We have,
which are a great opportunity.
Actually, the one.
Yeah, so I think we've got August and October. Maybe if Jody can pop a little cheeky link in there as well. Really awesome time to kind of get with us and imagine like a Tuesday tune-in, but like for 3 days. Like, how fun would that be?
People are thinking, nah, can't handle that.
Exactly. But yeah, really important for us, you know, to run these. We absolutely love them. So amazing to do. It gives everybody a chance to come over and just kind of digest this information. Not just try and remember everything in 1 hour, but you can have plenty of time to talk about equipment, trips, training, mindset, anything like that. So pretty much, you know, everything you need to know before you even step on the plane. So you can concentrate on the fun stuff, like just putting one foot in front of another and looking at awesome things.
And being a steady strider.
Yeah, exactly.
Thomas Edwards had a fantastic time EBC in April. Good to hear, Thomas. Great to hear. Life-changing experience. Yeah, good man. It was definitely, you know, I know a lot of EverTrekkers and all of us have had similar feelings. It's definitely a special place, isn't it? Love to see South America, but Kili is also tempting. Decisions. Yeah, let us know. You know, ping us a message, and if you need any help with those decisions, we can certainly see. Maybe there's times a year you've got some leave or you want to go. Just let us know, and we can work out a date and get you on one of our other trips. Yeah, we'd love to continue your EverTrekker journey.
I'm just thinking about Thomas there. So I'm pretty sure you can get a flight to South America from Tanzania. So maybe he could go and do Kilimanjaro and then go to Ecuador, then pop down into Peru, and then maybe Argentina, or maybe Ecuador, Argentina, Peru, Patagonia, then back home. So Thomas, drop us a message, mate. We'll sort it out.
Good stuff. No, but you mentioned the training weekend there. Yeah, they're always great weekends. I think we've got about 3 or 4 spaces left on the August one. So definitely jump in before that kind of fills up. They're generally the August one is always the most popular of the year. October, I think we got several people booked in, but always great to meet EverTrekkers and and help you and help people on their journey. I know Bri, we met many moons ago now, before your first trip to EBC. God, it feels like a lifetime ago now, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And has since gone to Killy. There's a lot of fantastic memories. But yeah, it was great to kind of catch up with Bri, and Mick was on that weekend, and it was a dry one, wasn't it, Bri? That was a windy and wet one, typical for an August weekend in Wales. But
I was going to say, for the August one, obviously, it is the height of summer. It is in the Brecon Beacons. There's not much shade or shelter, so bring your rain jacket.
Yeah, exactly. Although the October one we did last year was the other way around. It was like crazy warm. Or am I thinking the other way around? No, I'm thinking the other way around.
No, other way. August. August was 40 degrees. Yeah, it was
crazy, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was intense. I got so sunburned on the last section of that loop. It was crazy. No, great day though. Loved it.
Yeah, it was absolutely brilliant. Well, look, coming towards the end now, Dave. I think we'll kind of sum up. I know we started talking about speed and started talking about different things, and the steady striders to the fearless footsloggers, the Mountaineering Maverick, but it takes it takes all different types of people, all different types of trekkers to make a good team, doesn't it? And there's no right or wrong in this. We always advise, when it comes to trekking at high altitude, the slow is best when it comes to acclimatization. But that being said, as we've discussed, sometimes you've got to go quicker, for one reason or another, and that's okay too. Just look after your body and manage it in the right way.
Yeah, exactly.
Any final words, Dave, before we finish?
Only that there's an outdoor bushcraft expo this weekend. At Stanford Hall, and Leah, you might know her from Leah's Everest, who did base camp last year, is going to be doing a talk on her Everest trip. So if you're near Stanford Hall and you want to go out there and have a chat with a girl that kind of dragged her father up to base camp and back again, then that'd be a good opportunity.
Brilliant. Go for it. And thanks for giving us a shout as well. Really appreciate it, and hope it goes well. And Nina, not to forget the asthmatic ascenders. I just wrote that one down. I'm going to write these down now and put them into a little article around that. I think there's some interesting people there. But I hope everyone's had a wonderful, enjoyed the live. I know it's kind of scattered a little bit, but we wanted to talk about pace and things. But as always, goes on to different subjects. Hope you enjoyed it. Dave, get better soon. Hope you're well. Get some water down you.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna go visit the throne. TMI.
Well, it's all good. We're friends. It's all good, but
exactly.
Maybe TMI for everyone else, but then again, maybe not. They've been to altitude. They've trekked.
They've been at altitude.
They know how it works.
I like to think that this little community every Tuesday is taking place in a lodge at Gorrick Shep, where all bets are off. So.
Sounds good. All right. Well, everyone else, have a wonderful week. We'll catch you next week. Whatever adventures you're up to, stay safe. Like I said, whether you're a steady strider or a fearless footslogger, whatever it is, have an awesome time. We'll see you next week.
Take it easy.
Bye.